But we need to set an intention and be mindful of the ways that we're getting caught up in the effects of the world that might not be in alignment with the truth of our oneness with God. We need to be mindful not to get into Jimmy thinking. And I understand that, that's a very simple concept. Spiritual practice, spiritual truth is actually very simple. It's not always easy to apply it. And I get that it may not always be easy to apply this principle at this time of year because, holidays tend to be based on traditions. This is a time when we honor customs, ways that we've celebrated the holidays in the past. However, nothing out there in the world ever remains constant, right? We say God's nature in us is constant, but the forms of the world, because God's nature is infinite, God is reshaping, recreating itself in all kinds of ways. And so things out there in the world are always changing. And if we're accustomed to things being a certain way, it can be very distressing when those forms change. Our financial circumstances may not be the same as they were in the past. People that we're accustomed to being with may have moved on, or we may have moved away, or some of them may not be on this plane of existence anymore. They may have transitioned into the next life. Family dynamics change. People get married, and now there's the whole thing of with whose family do we spend what holiday. When people separate, it's who gets who do the kids go with. All of these things that change can create stress, but that's when we really need to get back to that spirit, that essence of God's goodness, what the holidays represent, and recognize how those qualities lie within us and that there is a way for us to experience and express them no matter what. I'll tell you, if you had told me about 20 years ago that I would be putting up my artificial Christmas tree around Thanksgiving, I would have thought you were crazy. My family, we had a tradition of we went out and got the tree on Christmas Eve, the fresh tree that had that nice pine scent, and we would decorate it that night. And then, maybe about 15 years ago, with my job responsibilities, I realized trying to do that all on Christmas Eve was a bit much. So I shifted that to a week before. But still, it was close to Christmas. When I became a minister, can I tell you, if I were to put that off to even a week before Christmas with everything that we have going on at this time of year, the tree decorating would be something like, okay, quick, let's get it up. Okay, there it is. Bye. It would just be impossible, and I actually like that ritual. So this year, my partner and I went to Vancouver, BC to be with my family for Thanksgiving. So the tree actually went up 2 days before Thanksgiving. I never would have thought I would have done that. And of course, it's an artificial one because it looks nice and pretty and saves other trees from having to fall over and not be appreciated out there in nature. But, that's so different from what I did in the past, but it was a way that I could continue to experience the joy of that ritual with the way my life has changed. And so I'd like us to look at this holiday time as a time that we can really engage in spiritual practice. It can be a time for us to examine if the things that we tell ourselves that are getting in the way of us experiencing Christmas or whatever holidays we celebrate are really as important as we say they are. Is this a time to maybe examine about how we tell ourselves that our work takes first priority over our families or over other things that are really important to us, and that maybe we can challenge that belief and maybe we can put our energy and attention to the things that are most important to us in our lives and therefore feel more fulfilled. And at the same time, it can also be a time for us to stop clinging to the past, to the form that our traditions have taken before, and be open to new ways to experience God's nature in this holiday time.